My sister-in-law installed nanny cameras after I volunteered to babysit.
I need to know what your visual profile is.
Well, my wife used to get our niece ready and take her to daycare every Friday since she was off, and her sister had to be at work at 6:30. Daycare didn't open until 7. My wife's work schedule changed, and she could no longer do it. So I offered to change my schedule to start work at 10. We have been doing this for around 4 months. My sister-in-law has voiced no concerns, and when she calls, I always answer.
Okay.
By the way, this comes from Inner Rutabaga 2055, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we recently found out about the installed cameras in her house. When my wife brought it up, she told her, "You never know," which
is fair. That's fair.
Extremely fair.
It's actually kind of unfortunately fair.
I will be honest. I was taken aback because she has had no complaints in the past, but now she wants to have cameras because you never know. My wife did ask her sister if I had anything to if I had done anything that would make her concerned or worried. She said no, but mentioned it was a safety issue. Once again, she told my wife with the classic, "You never know."
Okay, so she is saying that OP is a safety issue.
Yes, that's what it seems.
Okay.
Like.
Okay.
That's what we're able to put together. At this point, I told my wife I didn't want to go into her house. I didn't feel comfortable being in a home or around her daughter if she is that concerned.
I don't know if I agree with that take, dude. You look guilty.
Oh, that is true.
I don't know if I would do that. I'd be like, I get being offended where it's like, what you feel you need to install cameras, but now you're like, well, I won't go back. You look like you're scared of the cameras, buddy.
It does look a little bit like that? I can't lie. Now, my wife agrees it's weird. Also, considering I have known her sister for over 16 years, others think I am blowing it out of proportion, but I don't like how she assumes the worst of me because I am male. She told my wife that she had no concerns when she was doing it about OP.
So when wife was babysitting, no need for cameras.
Yeah, no need for cameras. Am I the a-hole? Has no consensus. OP was not voted the a-hole, and we have some relevant comments. But yeah, just roll quick. And I think this is maybe a conversation I think the wife has to have because that's her sister, right? I believe. So it's like, hey, like what about husband? What about OP made you uncomfortable? I don't know, maybe there's really something there. I don't know. Like
it's like you can assume that she's like, I don't trust your husband, like, you know, and so I needed to get these cameras because I don't know what he's capable of or what he would do to my kid. Or you could be like, she probably watched a true crime documentary this past weekend, and now she's like, well, you never know. It could be anybody. So it's like,
that's a good theory.
It's probably, it could have something to do completely outside of yourself.
Yeah.
And then you being like, well, no, now I won't watch the kids because I'm offended that the cameras are in the house and you would think that of me. It's just going to make everything more contentious when if you would have just done what you were going to do anyway that you had no problem with, which was just babysitting the kid, like, it'd probably be fine.
Going into our relevant comments, how did OP find out about the cameras? OP says, as for how I found out, I saw them, which is why my wife asked about them. Commenter number 1 says, I think you are taking it too personally. In this day and age, no one can ever really be too safe. If you otherwise have a good relationship with sister-in-law and niece, this isn't really worth tanking the relationship over. Maybe share with sister-in-law that you wish she had informed you if the cameras, as if it was a breach of privacy, but she hasn't accused you of anything, so she isn't slighting your character. OP says, to me, the action of installing the camera is a blow. That, I think, is not the move, but we'll talk about that later. My wife has been babysitting and doing this for years, and she has no need for cameras or safety concerns, but with me, she suddenly has the urge. That hurts a lot, and it's hard to not take it personally. She even told my wife, you never know, which means she thinks a part of me is capable of hurting my niece. That hurts a lot.
Brother, you're writing it guilty. You're writing it like, I can't believe they'd think that, and for this reason, I'll never go back while the cameras are there.
I mean, I don't think he's guilty.
Me either.
He's just like butthurt, and I'm just like, dude, like this is somebody's child, and like you said, maybe they watched some true crime documentary, and they're just like their mind is going crazy, and their anxiety is going bananas, and they just got like who knows? Like honestly, I feel it's kind of hard for me to fault someone doing something for the protection of their child, especially if it's like that. OP on how he is feeling about the cameras after he started to help with his niece. Opie says, I'm worked up because my wife has watched our niece for years, did the whole getting her ready for daycare for years. My sister-in-law never once installed cameras. I come into the picture, and now she's all of a sudden she's concerned. There's part of me that gets that she waited so long and told my wife you never know. That hurts. Means a part of her thinks I am a risk. A downvoted commenter says, what's so uncomfortable about a woman protecting her home, or anyone for that matter? I'm actually concerned for your wife, because if my significant other had this reaction, I'd be pausing majorly. Opie says, think you are missing my point. If this was a general safety thing, she would have done this a lot sooner. She also would not have told my wife it was because you never know. Even my wife was taken aback by her sister's response and reasoning. As stated, if I had any doubts or thoughts a person was capable of causing harm, I would not let them into my house, let alone have them be around my children alone. That is how I would have handled this. Commenter number 2 said, you are making a big assumption. Maybe the you never know is about a home invasion or some other crime that could happen. You assuming it has anything to do with you or wanting to quit over it kind of makes it seem like you are worried about them. As Decoder said, he said that. OP responds, my wife did ask if she had any concerns or worries, but she told her you never know. If I hear you never know one more time, I am going to do something drastic. It is not a leap. This is what she told my wife. And yes, my wife was taken aback when she told her reasoning also. If this was a general safety issue, she had years to do it. My wife has been doing what I have been doing for years prior. We have an update that is 4 days later. And this also happened semi-recently as well. But Dakota, do we think OP is a little off the mark or a little bit, or maybe a little too personal?
Open your mind to the possibility that this has nothing to do with you. And then just move through your life believing that until you're told otherwise.
On to this update. I do appreciate the feedback and differing perspectives. I did speak with my sister-in-law with my wife, and to say the least, it was enlightening. I did ask my sister-in-law why the sudden urge to install the cameras. As she told my wife, she said it was for safety purposes since...
You never know.
You never know.
You just never know.
My wife did push back and asked her to elaborate as to what she meant. My sister-in-law tried to avoid answering directly, but my wife kept pushing, and finally she did admit that she was not comfortable with me changing her daughter unsupervised. At this point, I asked my sister-in-law if she truly felt I would harm her daughter. She honestly shrugged her shoulders. This annoyed me, but it did piss off my wife.
As she should be, I think, mad. Everyone's going about this the wrong way. All right. You know, the sister-in-law is like making it like a thing where she's like, yeah, your husband's a predator. Like, and it's like, why are we doing this? And then the husband's being like, well, I refuse to go in the house. It's like, no, you freaking look like one. Yeah. What? Come on, guys.
Let's get it together. My wife once again pushed the issue, and it turns out my sister-in-law was never comfortable with me watching her daughter and felt betrayed by my wife because she changed up an arrangement that worked. And she said I was far too eager to change my work schedule to take over Fridays, and it came off as insistent. I told her, yes, I was insistent because I do not want my wife to give up an opportunity because she felt beholden to an arrangement that she made with her. Yeah, it was a work thing. So like he's like, right. Hey, I want to help my wife so she can do all the work stuff she needs to do.
Right.
After that exchange, I told my sister-in-law I would no longer take her daughter to daycare. This happened on Wednesday. She took off last Friday. So long story short, she never wanted me to watch her daughter unsupervised. Found it strange how eager I was to rearrange my Fridays to be with my niece. My wife family is thinking that I am being weird and creepy. Oh, so the family is agreeing with the sister-in-law that he's like being a weirdo.
You look at this creepy weirdo who wants to babysit his own niece.
Ugh.
Ew, gross.
Disgusting.
I hate all of my nieces. Add it to the list. I hate nieces.
Now, my wife had one last final conversation with her sister on Friday, and apparently it got ugly since my sister-in-law did call to apologize, and I did appreciate that, but I told her you either trust me or you don't. Since she does not, I did recommend she find someone that she does trust so that way she can be at ease. She tried to give me a sob story about how we are being unfair towards her. All she was trying to do was keep her daughter safe. I told her the best way for her to do that was to find someone else who she trusts to handle her Fridays, or to change her job schedule, which, I mean, I think he basically said, like, hey, like, find someone you trust, like,
Yeah, I think that's where we're at.
Yeah. And yeah, 100%.
It's like, all right, dude, you think I'm going to do that? I will not babysit my own niece, and you can hire a babysitter who's a stranger.
Yes.
That's a better solution.
I was going to originally offer, as some suggested, that she brings her daughter to us before she heads to work. But after that conversation, I decided it was best for everyone that I took a step back. I don't know what will comes of this in terms of the family, since most think that I'm being unreasonable, but my wife and I agree that if she is not comfortable with me, then it is not our duty to make her comfortable. Fair enough. Thanks again. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories exactly like this one. If you're enjoying this right now, why are you not going to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart and searching OK Storytime? I don't understand. Oh, we have a second update. There's actually a big chunk of juice left here.
Oh, how much juice we have?
Like a good 30%.
We got 30% juice left? Let's freaking
juice.
go.
Let's drain it.
I know where I stand. I think everyone knows where I stand.
Yeah.
We know where. I think we're all in agreement.
I think, like basically in summation, OP was kind of, it's like, hey, people can have cameras, and, if she wants to do that, then, let her, whatever. Don't take it so personally. And then sister-in-law, it's like, hey, look, like, this is probably, it's too much. You've known him for 16 years. I don't know. If anything, why not talk to the sister about it? Like, I don't know, something like that. Like, if anything, wouldn't you not want to give it to sister because you're worried that, like, then he's then closer to the baby or something like that, I did want to point out that as many have said, yeah, my wife is awesome, some have asked why I'm not upset. I am upset, but more so hurt. Not just because of what was said about me, but more so because of the situation will forever alter relationship we have with the family. And I know that hurts my wife a lot. That does suck, and that is unfair. We love our niece, but I know my wife and her have a special bond. That is her godchild. So I am more so hurt that I created a rift that will probably never be mended. And we do have some quick top comments. OP's thoughts in the aftermath of the situation. I am upset, but it's being overshadowed by the hurt. I have known sister-in-law for 16 years, and it's been a major blow to think that she is afraid of me because I'm a guy. Commenter number 1 says, this is just so awful. I'm sorry. Just to brace you, she or the extended family might jump to the unreasonable conclusion that if you're not willing to help out because of the cameras, then you must have been doing something that you don't want seen. To Dakota's point,
that's not why he doesn't want to do this. It's clear the reason is just because of like the principle of the like accusation, or not accusation, but like, it's like, if that's what you think of me, I now don't feel like I don't know you.
Yeah,
and like
it changes the relationship forever.
Then I feel weird if you feel weird, so I don't want to do this.
Yeah. But to your earlier point, it does kind of come off as like
optically can look pretty bad.
Yeah, the optics are pretty bad. Be prepared for the accusation. Explain that what changed wasn't the cameras, it was that you learned how she sees you. You thought she'd appreciate you inconveniencing yourself to make her life easier, and instead she assumed horrible things about you. Yeah. You aren't interested in helping someone who doesn't respect you, and you're not willing to risk your own safety if she's willing to jump to such conclusions without reasonable cause. OP says they already have. Oh. That is what hurts the most, because this will forever alter the relationship we have with their family. Commenter number 2 says, good for you and your wife. She stuck up for you, and you are holding your boundaries. This is on sister-in-law to fix the dynamic. If she doesn't trust you, then you never need to be involved with helping care for her kids. She is an adult and can figure her crap out for herself. And commenter number 3 says, if your wife's family thinks you're being weird and creepy, all the more reason to avoid contact with them. And then commenter number 4 says, not the a-hole. She basically thinks that you're a creep, but still expecting you to do her a favor. You set up a boundary after being disrespected, and somehow you're the weird one? Nah, if she doesn't trust you, she can find someone else to deal with the consequences. And just to end this off, just to close this out, yeah, any quick closing thoughts on the story here?
There was that line about family jumping to conclusions and stuff. It's like, that feels like clearly way overboard of what needed. But it's like, I wonder what else is there. What was the thing that made her go, this guy's creepy and I don't trust him? Right? Because I'm sure there's other men in the family that are allowed to look after the niece.
We don't know that. Yeah.
At this point, I'm almost positive because it really feels like after everything that was said, it was just because like, well, if you're not going to babysit my kid, then I am going to have to put cameras in the house because your husband's going to be watching her.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why are there? Because you never know what your husband might do. And it's like, again, that's not unfair, but it's more just like the switch up. I think made OP just be like, well, if that's how we're rocking, then I'm also uncomfortable because I don't want to babysit your kid if you think I would do that. So I don't know. Everything just kind of fell apart there.
It sure did.
If OP could have just, and it's not always the most reasonable thing, but if OP could have just gone, I don't really care. Ooh, you think I'm a creep? I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and babysit your daughter. And now the proof that I'm not a creep will be on camera, I guess. I don't care.
Point blank period.
Sometimes you got to care less.
Sometimes you got to care less.
Unfortunately, it's hard to know when.
That's right.